Monsieur Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do dede. Luta mënuloo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bësal mu fay.
What?
Bësal mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave acts in Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills, and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave, Bësal mu fine. Wave, your money is yours.
Jammeh Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jammeh Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Hello, Peter. How are you doing? Please ask Doctor to enlighten us about the issue of the land allocation to the President at Fajara waterfront and other government ministers and top authorities, whether it is true or not. If true, on what basis were they done?
It's a vague question. I don't really understand what he wants me to answer to.
Whether?
Because it's a pregnant question. There's thing about the president's land at Fajara waterfront and other ministers.
Is it true?
Like,
is it true that the president was allocated land at Fajara waterfront?
Well, on Atlantic Road, yes, and this was done following due process and the right way. I think this is public knowledge. This has been discussed extensively earlier on. What is important is that it was done within the framework of the law, and the allocation is legitimate and valid. So that's my only response to it. When it comes to land allocations or the ministers, I'm not sure which specific one.
Oh, okay. Then that answers the question. I was going to ask whether also, along this waterfront, ministers...
No.
That's a definite...
That's why I'm saying there are two questions here. The waterfront, the Atlantic Road allocation, but also he said ministers allocation. I'm not aware of any minister being allocated any plot of land along the Atlantic Road.
Mm-hmm. Usman Jammeh from Brikama. Good morning, Uncle Peter. What is the minister talking about? Isn't the police force under the administration and direct control of the executive, in other words, the government? Therefore, it is wrong for the minister to suggest that the police don't receive instructions from the government.
Well, on certain operational issues, the government tries not to give instructions to the police. They are the competent authority to work on public law and order. Governments all over the world in a democracy doesn't really involve themselves in operational policing issues. I think that is that is public knowledge. That is, everybody knows that. When it comes to operational issues, the government tries to let the police do their work because they are the competent authority to do that work. That is why when you apply for a permit, it is not the government that does the assessment and gives permit or approves or rejects. It is the police that does the assessment, and based on the security landscape or other factors that they consider, it is when they either approve a permit or they give a permit. So government doesn't normally get involved in a democracy in operational policing issues, and that is public knowledge.
This is not the first government to enact anti-corruption law. There was the Anti-Corruption Act 2014, which was never implemented. The Anti-Corruption Act 2014 is no better because it has been watered down to virtually nothing by the NPP majority parliament.
Anti-Corruption Act? I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware of any Anti-Corruption Act passed in 2014. I can be corrected.
Well, then
but I'm not aware. I don't think... No, what I'm in 2014. 2014 was in Jammeh's time.
Yes, this was in
Anti-Corruption Act?
Yeah.
Did we repeal it to bring in a new Anti-Corruption Act? Because you cannot bring two acts. Two acts cannot be running in parallel. Maybe it was a bill that never passed. I don't know. But as far as I am concerned...
Usman, educate me and the minister on this
yes,
2014
Anti-Corruption Act which was passed.
Act, yes, all right.
Then there would not be any need for another Anti-Corruption Act if it existed.
Mm-hmm. Good morning, Peter. Minister Sabali is right. No one is above the law. Why should politicians take part in an unauthorized protest? They purely have an ulterior motive. Gambia is governed by rule of law, says Mr. Njai from Kololi.
Well, that's his opinion as a citizen.
One that you welcome. I thank Dr. Cisse for initiating the Mansakunda, but let it be rotational and across the regions at the governor's bantabas. Have you done one?
In fact, I think I'm happy that he or she raised that issue. Currently, we have a proposal. We are working with the...
If you advertise anything here,
No. We are not advertising
I'll
anything.
send you a bill.
No. We are working with the Department of Information Services. We have a new initiative called Sunyureu. Sunyureu will be a Mansakunda, which will be in the provinces across the 7 regions. We are planning to start in September. 2 Sunyureus in each region. It will be 1 year, perhaps. Every month, we'll do 2 in each region. We'll start in URR, coming all the way down to Banjul. So Sunyureu will be like a Mansakunda, but in the provinces, in Bantabas, where we take ministers to interface with communities to discuss issues of development within that community in the local languages. So thank you very much. I think this is ongoing. It will be called Sunyureu. This is the Mansakunda, which is done here. But then we will also do a similar one called Sunyureu in the provinces, and very soon we will start that initiative.
Is this politicking by the ruling coalition disguised as information sharing?
Well, as far as the sector minister responsible for information, my mandate is to ensure every Gambian has access to authentic, reliable information, timely also information. And my mandate is to ensure that the public is fully informed about government activities so they can make informed choices. Now, the President, His Excellency, has emphasized that he wants no gap between the public and the government insofar as information sharing is concerned. He wants the government to know on a daily basis what the public is, what public concerns are, what the public challenges are, what are their aspirations. In similar vein, he wants the government to know, he wants the public to know what the government is doing on a daily basis in terms of their achievements, their projects, but also the service that are provided. That is my role, to bridge that gap. And then that is why we come up with these initiatives. It's not politics. This is just fulfilling our mandate for what they call proactive disclosure, to ensure that the public is given enough information as possible to understand what the government is doing, because we have to be held accountable. We have to be transparent. We have to promote our democracy. And the only way we can do that is to ensure the public is fully informed. And in our ministry, our thinking is that the way in which healthcare is a basic service, which must be provided by government, the way education is a basic service to be provided by government, we also believe that information is a basic necessity, it's a basic service, it's a basic public good that every citizen must have. That is why if you look at all my public engagements, on every week I'll get 3 or 4 radio engagements in the local language, and I always open the lines for people to call in and tell me in their different regions what is happening there. I get this information and go to cabinet and tell the right sector minister that, hey, Minister of Agriculture, someone called from Barajali. This is their challenge. Can you please see what we can do? Or Transport Minister, hey, someone called from Hakalang. They say this is their challenge. This is what I do on a daily basis to ensure that there's the link between the public and the government is secure, is strong, and that government responds to public concerns and public needs. So no politicking.
But you never say anything to the health minister because, for instance, the issues that came up this morning. There's nothing in the in the hospitals. If you need anything, you have to go and buy it in a pharmacy.
In fact, the health minister is one I've engaged the most. Sometimes we do these things, we cannot come to the pub to see what we've done. I've got some issues that people bring to my attention that I call the health minister directly, or sometimes I engage him in the cabinet WhatsApp group to say, hey, health minister, these are complaints what I'm doing about this. And I'll get information, and sometimes we'll resolve these issues. So we do a lot of work behind the scenes. We don't have to come to the radio to say, this is what we've done, I've engaged this. What I can tell the public, and that I can assure the public, is that whenever there are concerns, even if we don't respond to them immediately on the radio, we always take this feedback and engage the relevant sector minister to find a solution to these problems.
Brother Peter, for 22 years we were oppressed. Now that we can demonstrate, let's not abuse the wonderful peace of our lovely Gambia for political gains. Well done for the great medium. Well done, Dr. Ismail Cisse. Peace is precious. Let's not joke with the peace of this great Gambia. And this is coming from Aliu Badara.
Peter, I think Aliu Badara has a point. In fact, I mentioned this yesterday, that the police officers, the protesters, the media journalists, we the ministers, the citizens, the farmers, we all are Gambian. We all are brothers, and we are the same family. The country belongs to us. And if the country is destroyed, nobody is saved in this. If the country is prosperous, we all reap the benefits of this prosperity. We all have the same common vision. We want the Gambia to develop. I mean, nobody in cabinet, nobody in government wants the country not to develop. So we all have the same vision. When the way we do it, we might have differences. The way we see things, we might have differences. This is a democracy. We can discuss, we can engage, and that is why I believe that protest should always be the last resort. Protest always comes if you exhaust all other means of conciliation and negotiation. Then you go and protest to say, you know what, we've tried everything else except one former, I think is a philosopher, I can't remember the name, I've forgotten my political science 101, says that war is the continuation of politics. What does that mean is that before nations resort to war, they first discuss, they first negotiate, they first find peaceful solutions. When all solutions have been exhausted and there is no way to win, it's when they resort to war. In the same vein, protest always comes last when we've negotiated. When you request a document from a government and the government said, we are going to produce this document, I think government should be given some time and negotiate. And then perhaps if government is failing or has not shown any goodwill to publish these documents that the public is asking for, maybe you could resort and ask for a permit. I think that was my issue with the protest. But I think every government has a right to express their opinion. Protest is part of democracy. That is why it's in the laws, which says that, okay, you can protest, but you need to get the permit is to protect yourself, because the right you have to protest is the right others have to counter protest. So to avoid a situation where you're yourself who's protesting, you are secured and you are protected, that is why you have to inform the police and get a permit so the police can secure you whilst you are doing your protest. This is part of law. But the most important thing, what I'm trying to get at, is that the country is our country. We can disagree. Today, those in government were not in government yesterday. Others were in government yesterday. Today, they are in government. They'll not be in government forever. I'll not be the Minister of Information forever. Someone will come. Someone was there before I came. Someone will come.
When will you stop being?
Well, I don't know. What I'm saying is that someone will come after me. So I think whatever we do, let us do it for love of country. Let us not do it to gain political, for short-term political gains, because the country is bigger than everyone.
Good morning to you, my brother. To state that healthcare is a nightmare in the Gambia is an unfair statement, maybe in Sudan or Gaza, but not in the Gambia.
Well, I've said that the government, I think the Minister of Health has done a tremendous job in transforming the healthcare sector. I got to know this particularly firsthand when he did a presentation on some of the achievements in the healthcare sector. Yes, there are still challenges, like I said, but at least in terms of access, we've built more health centers than ever before. We've built state-of-the-art health centers in Jali, in Kiang, a place where there was no health center before, in Tumanna, in Mankamang, in Sisemajao, in Jokado, in Salikenya, in Badibu. These are places where now women can go, even children, even men, and have healthcare and dignity.
Even men?
Of course. So I was trying to be...
It's the way you put it.
I was trying to be gender. When I say women, I want the men to say, what about the men? But every citizen can now access healthcare. And the quality has really gone up. We've also ensured that we create a postgraduate school at the CTWPG to train our own doctors, our consultants, our specialists, and not relying on external technical support. So I think there is progress. To be honest, there is progress. Now, the question should be, is the healthcare better off today than 7-8 years ago? Yes, I can say with a yes, with a bold yes underline, that the healthcare system is better off today than 8 years ago, and it's a fact.
Usman has actually texted back in to say, yes, the current Anti-Corruption Act, all right, repeals the 2014 Anti-Corruption Act, and it's contained.
Well, that's a good piece of information. What is important is that it wasn't implemented because there was no Anti-Corruption Commission, and it was never implemented.
Just as the latest one is also...
No, but at least the latest one, there's a commission. The commission has been interviewed.
There's no commission
yet. No, but they've been interviewed. And very soon they'll be sworn in as commissioners to do their work. So that's the difference there. For the first time in our history, and I still maintain it, we are going to have an Anti-Corruption Act which will be implemented in line with the Act.
Okay.
That is what is important.
Good morning, Uncle Peter. Please ask Dr. Cisse, which section of the law empowers the president to have land in the country if he or she is serving as head?
Well, which section also doesn't allow the president to have land? Having access to land to be allocated is a right of every citizen, and the president is a citizen in line with the laws of this country. There is no section in the constitution which says that no sitting president should be allocated land. There is no section there. So no law is broken.
Hi, Peter. Please ask the Honorable Minister how, in his best ability, can he assess the gala protest which led to the arrest of some key prominent youth leaders? Was it a defeat for the government and the police for failing to grant a simple permit to the gala members who could have simply protested peacefully without any pushing or pulling, than denying them that permit and leading to that unceremonious ending?
Well, like I said, I cannot delve into operational policing issues. It is for the police to answer. Permit was requested from the police. It was police that denied it. It was police that has to deal with the aftermath. So I think that question should be sent to the police. As far as we are concerned as a government, this is an operational issue purely to be dealt with by the police.
Jammeh Oil, the company, have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jammeh Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Axila Jammeh si Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do de. Luta mënulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello? Kan lay waxal?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. Ak Wave. Bisul mu fine. Wave. Your money is yours.
Good morning, Uncle Peter. Please ask the minister what information does he have for teachers who took part in the TOT on national anthem in Wolof during the independence celebration. This issue came up before. We haven't got our payment up till now, 5 months now.
Now, the question is why they're supposed to be paid in the first place. I need to know the circumstances surrounding the whole thing.
Find out.
Was it voluntary work? Why are they supposed to be paid? And we need to know that. So I can't really respond to that.
Find out.
I'll find out.
Exactly.
If he can forward that text to me, I'll engage the Minister of
You just
Education.
boasted a short while ago about your mandate,
That's what I'm saying.
which is to provide, information and,
I will indeed find out if I can get the text message on my phone.
Oh, that is easy. You know that.
Thank you.
Uncle Peter, I commend the Honorable Minister for his friendliness with the media. I believe that the list of buyers and sellers associated with Jammeh should be easy to publish, especially after 8 years of request. This request was made a long time ago, and the government should have responded to the public's call.
Well, how was the request made? I'm not aware of any.
Just as the request made now,
that's
culminating in protests.
That's what I'm saying. Like I said, it is what it is. It has happened. The list is out. I think that's what we should focus on now.
Good morning, Uncle Peter. Talking of transparency, why did the government refuse to release the report on the sale of Jammeh's asset for so long that it has to happen for it to be released? I suppose.
I think, Peter, we need to get something clear.
Yeah.
The sale of Jammeh assets were done in different ways. The Jammeh Commission, which was acting independently to do their work, to look into Jammeh's assets and Jammeh's financial dealings, did some sales. Some of these sales, they were supported by the Sheriff Division. The Jammeh Commission sold off the cars, got rid of the tractors and the cattle. They did that. Now, you could ask a question, did they submit a report of the sales, which is after the commission had ended? They submitted a report of the commission, but did they? I'm not sure. We're just getting this information now.
What is to be able to know
what is important now is then they have the property, the sale of the properties and the shares, which was done by Alpha Capital, the receiver, which was government. The government was in charge of that. So I think this thing needs to be clear. What is important, Peter, is that yes, perhaps, and with hindsight, this could have been out maybe earlier than now, but that did not happen. But that doesn't mean that things are bad. What is important now is that there'll be a parliamentary inquiry. I'm pretty much sure of that, which will furnish Gambians of all the information that they need to know about the sales of Jammeh's assets. The National Audit Office has also done an extensive audit of all the transactions, and in due course, Gambians will know exactly what has happened. In a democracy, nothing is never too late.
Well, Mahdi, who is listening to us, from somewhere, has sent a laws passed in 2012. And he says, check number 6 on the anti-corruption. Supplementary appropriation passed 25th September 2012, assented to 1st October 2012. So there was an anti-corruption act.
But never implemented, as far as we know.
Well,
for the first time, we're having an anti-corruption law whereby we have a commission.
Initially,
now.
you questioned the existence of an anti-corruption.
Well, I thank Mahdi for that piece of information.
No, the other texter.
I also thank him. I think what is important is that it's never been implemented, and for the first time now we're implementing it by appointing commissioners to really implement the anti-corruption law in this country. But I thank them for that piece of information.
When is the Minister of Foreign Affairs going to appear on the Mansakunda Forum? It is important for him to appear to talk about our foreign policy.
On Friday.
He's appearing on Friday?
Yes, the 16th.
Mumudu Tangara is appearing on Friday. Wow.
To the Mansakunda.
That's well.
So everyone is invited. If you have your questions for the minister, you are invited to the Mansakunda at the Sadara Karabajara Conference Center at 8 p.m. on Friday. The Minister of Foreign Affairs will be my guest.
Why do you hold it at night? People like us,
Well, it's the only appropriate time when it comes also the media coverage as well, because it's streamed live by almost 6 to 7 media houses. And to get them all together in a coordinated manner, that's the only time that we can really do it.
Yeah. Good morning, Peter. You'll be surprised that our laboratories are not well equipped. We're asked to go to Dakar just to conduct some tests. This should be looked into.
Well, your
healthcare delivery claims.
Yeah, but I think some labs are working. I don't know which ones. I don't have the specifics. But this is a concern I'll also discuss with the minister.
Bakau K Point is a fragile area, not ideal for sand dredging in the future.
But is sand dredging taking place there now?
Well,
I'm not sure.
if it's been brought up, yes.
Okay, I'll engage the mines minister as well on this. Can you forward all these text messages to me, and I'll engage each and every of these ministers on these issues.
Okay. All right. 7711599, the number to send your SMS text messages to. We have about, 8 minutes remaining. I have another guest waiting to be invited into the studio. Please, Peter, I would like to ask the Honorable Minister to advise the President to have more engagements with the youths. If possible, invite them. As many youth groups as specifically the youths, and hear from them. We know there are lots of lapses within the government, but with dialogue, a lot can be figured out, and forging ahead could be inevitable.
I think that's one of the most useful suggestions I've had for a very long time.
Positive contributions?
I think Peter, the President, His Excellency, if you know him, he values and he prioritizes issues of young people in this country. And he does everything possible for young people in this country. Yes, I agree with him. Dialogue is key. I think it's a suggestion. I'll escalate to see what will happen to that. But I think it's a very good suggestion.
Okay. Good morning, Uncle Peter. Can you please tell Dr. Cisse that I don't like his statement where he always says this government is the most transparent. We expect this government to be most transparent because we are in modern days. From his youth, Abdullah Ba.
Yes, because
you have a youth?
I think I know. I think I know the one, and I know quite a few of them. But what is important is that why we put emphasis on this is that because there are claims that we are not being transparent, and we have to put an emphasis that we're being transparent because the evidence suggests that. We've taken up initiatives where we ensure that the public is aware of what government is doing. So, and the records show that since independence, this government has been the most transparent government insofar as sharing of information is concerned.
Good morning, Uncle Peter. As a young Gambian who was at the Gala Westfield strike, Gambians against looted assets, Gala now has a new meaning in this country. After my videos went viral criticizing the government, so many people were calling me, asking me to be careful. It's like telling the truth is a crime in this country. Please ask the minister to always tell the president that still some Gambians don't trust the system, and there are still challenges. Suleiman Jai from Neman Nasir.
Well, it's quite normal all over the world. Even the most mature democracies, there are people who question what government does. That is democracy, Peter. You cannot accept everybody to fall in line and praise the government. And I think also it's good for government to be criticized, because it's only through criticism that we can know our flaws and our weaknesses and the things we need to improve on. This is democracy. That is why in a democracy we encourage public debate, because it's key. It's the lifeblood of democracy. The government needs to know what the public is thinking. We cannot expect everybody to praise us on a daily basis. We want people to tell us what is not going right so we can make it right. That is our role as a government.
Fantastic. You want somebody to tell you what is not going right? Hello, Peter. Please ask the minister if the mammograph at the EFSTH is working. One was donated by a foundation that I had about a year ago. I tried reaching out to the administration several times without success, but we'll also try going there once again.
So if I can get that message, I'll call Dr. Bitey of FSTH and he'll give me that information.
Okay, well, normally Dr. Bitey listens whenever he has the time. He probably, if he is listening, rest assured he will chime in. Uncle Peter, I am a Banjulian. Even the polyclinic, most of the time, even paracetamol, you would be told to buy. So the minister saying that's not true is because they are having it with their family, as they are the VIPs of the country.
Well, on the former, in terms of even paracetamol, I can speak on that. Like I said, people should not take their experiences to make a generalization of the entire healthcare sector. I think it's unfair. On the latter, on the issue of our families, I think that is irrelevant. As far as I'm concerned, when I get sick or my kids, I take them to EFSTH. It's our hospital. I trust the AFST than any other. Yeah, but any other.
You know, you will get VIP treatment.
No.
Probably you'll be received by Dr. Bitey himself.
No. I mean, obviously, what I'm saying is that, Peter, like I said, yes, clearly there are challenges. We are not saying everything is perfect 100%. Everything is rosy. What I'm saying is that at least there is progress. We are doing all we can to ensure that we provide quality healthcare service to Gambians. Yes, where there are challenges, we fall short. It's good to know and we can rectify. But we are working hard to ensure that Gambians access quality healthcare. And like I said, and I'll repeat it, the healthcare sector is better off today than it was 8 years ago.
Good morning, Uncle Peter. Could you please ask the Honorable Minister what he knows about Futa Enterprise, Hadim Gai and Sering Gai, allegedly being among those who acquired some assets from the Jammeh Commission? There are also rumors circulating that the president is connected to all these three buyers.
Well, one thing I can assure the public is that the president has no hand or say or influence on the Jammeh Commission sales. These were done purely by the Jammeh Commission. I think it will be important for the Jammeh Commission, those who are in the commission, to come and rectify this. Now, when it comes to these business entities that he named or she named, I don't know. I don't have a clue. They are business in the Gambia. And Peter, one thing that should be clear, we should not fault those who bought Jammeh's properties, whether it was auction or the bidding process. They are citizens who has a right to buy this stuff if it was a willing seller, willing buyer. You cannot fault those who bought it. They have nothing in this. All they did was they saw.
Only in the case of the cars, we hear this Sehu Jallo, who apparently did all the buying of the cars. He's not even Gambian.
Well, like I said, I don't know the nationalities. For me, I don't think it's important who bought. That is not important for me. What is important is the process itself.
It's okay to sell that cheaply to foreigners, but not to Gambians?
I'm not saying the price. What I'm saying is that who bought? Who bought? I don't know. No, Peter, those who bought. If there's an auction taking place, you have a right to go and buy. I have a right to go and buy. Anybody has a right to go and buy. Now, for me, what is important we need to focus on is the process itself. I think that should be the focus. And I think I'm happy that National Audit Office has done an extensive auditing of the process. And the National Assembly will eventually do also. And that's what is important. That's what we should focus on. It's not about who bought, the person who bought. It's anybody, any citizen who's a capitalist. If you are selling something, you go and buy. Now, the process in which it was bought, the valuation, the reserve prices, the manner in which it was advertised, these are the things which we need to focus on. Let us not lose sight of that.
It's coming up to 10 o'clock. Coffee time with Peter Gomez with Dr. Ismail Assise, Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services, thanks to our sponsors, Jar Oil and Wave. Hello, Peter. People need to understand that health is a very expensive even in the United States, it's not free. So I think this government is doing great with the little resources available to it.
In fact, I had wanted to mention it, but people always follow me to say I like to compare Gambia to other countries. Peter, I've traveled extensively. I've lived in many different countries in the world, and nowhere have I accessed free healthcare. Not in Sweden, not in the UK. I've been to US recently. It's not there. Even in Senegal here, I don't like to call our neighbors names and bring them in to compare. But you don't get things for free in the healthcare sector. So I think by and large, Gambia is one of those few countries where you get really things for free, to the extent that even if something is missing, people complain. But in most countries, you buy these things. It's healthcare. That's why people go for healthcare insurance. What we are doing as a government, our policy is to ensure that each and every Gambian has access to quality healthcare, and that is what we are working towards. And I think very soon we'll achieve it by the construction of many of the healthcare centers, but also equipping them with modern equipment. We are building 1,500 bed hospital in Farato, just to make sure that we service Gambians' healthcare needs. We've also refurbished most of the referral hospitals in the country. FSH, if you go there today, you'll be amazed. Most of the equipments are functional and working. We've trained many consultants and specialists who will be deployed to most parts of the country, so that those also in the provinces can have access to quality healthcare. These are some of the things that we are doing, and I think with time, and remember, we have inherited a very bad, deplorable healthcare sector as a government.
So what Jammeh was telling us about the healthcare system, under him, were all lies.
That is what is appearing now. You see, Peter, we need to understand one thing on a final note. Some of the things that were hidden under the surface, under Jammeh, they never came out. It's not that they are popping up, and people forget, and they tend to blame this government for that. These things are inherited. You see, healthcare, education, higher education, most of the things are long-term policy development goals. Your policy goals or your policy interventions today in the healthcare education sector, whether wrong or right, people will not feel the consequences until in 5, 10, 15 years. That is how it works. If you change a policy direction of the healthcare sector today, or even the education sector today, let's say today, or if you fail to do an investment in the energy sector today, people will feel the consequences in 10, 15 years' time. We've not had significant investments in the healthcare sector under Jammeh. We've not had significant investment in the energy sector under Jammeh. We've had poor policies in the education sector under Jammeh. These are the consequences we are facing, and the government is trying to rectify these failures in the system. Yes, they'll start to pop up now. The problems will start to pop up now. But we are solving these problems because these problems are inherited. So Gambians need to understand that these things are not the making of this government. They are inherited problems. And for the first time, Peter, we are really now invested in the energy sector to the extent that now we're almost energy secure. By 2026, we'll have universal access. Today, over 70% of Gambians have access to electricity. We brought electricity to communities that never had electricity before. We've brought roads to communities that had never dreamt of having tarred roads before. We've brought healthcare to communities that had never had healthcare before. We've brought water to communities that had never had water before. We've invested in farmers in the tune of almost $1 billion in both providing fertilizer for them and also buying their groundnuts to the expense of government. We are subsidizing electricity. We are subsidizing fuel. We are subsidizing basic commodities in the form of free duty at the ports. We are doing all these things to ensure. We've also increased salaries on 3 occasions within a very short period of time to ensure that we cushion Gambians from the impact of the cost of living crisis. We've done all these things, and these are the positives that we should focus on. But most of the problems are inherited, and we're doing everything possible to rectify, and these things can take time.
I heard you say in conclusion. Was it in conclusion while answering that particular question, or you've exhausted your time,
Well, I've exhausted my time.
Okay, fantastic. Then
Thank you.
We'll end it there. We have more questions, but if that's it for today, thank you very much for your time.
Thank
and
you, Peter.
See you next week.
Thank you.
If you're not traveling.
I'm not going anywhere. Thank you.
You're grounded, apparently. That's Dr. Ismaila Cisse, Minister of Information, Media and Broadcasting Services. It's coffee time with Peter Gomez.
Axila Jammeh si Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do dede. Luta mënuloo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bësal mu fay.
What?
Bësal mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. Ak Wave. Bësal mu fine. Wave. Your money is yours.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.